it has to be done through a guardian, whether the father or in the order of guardianship, the wali, because the Prophet ﷺ said, "La nikaha illa biwali." But you can't have it both ways. I had a very awkward situation during COVID that I was asked to conduct a marriage, and it wasn't a private marriage. It took place here, despite limited attendance. There's people from the family there and so on. The woman in question wanted to conduct her own marriage. I gave her the options. Afterwards, the husband decided that this is not valid. He was very upset with me. So I connected him with some scholars, because one doesn't defend oneself. So I connected him with some scholars of his similar background, and he wasn't convinced by them. So my wife, being a wise woman, she said, look, he's not all he wants is to do it in a particular way. Why don't you just redo it? So I thought that, well, someone else can redo it. And I thought, sometimes it's just good to, even if you're not wrong, just to apologize. So I apologized. I got a little piece of the groom's mind, but okay. Sometimes you just have to, take a punch. And we just redid it. But technically you can't do that, because if you act on one position, you cannot annul it by taking another position. Right? So that's not correct. You could, So this is one of the things to think through. If they want, and ultimately this is, so can a woman act on her own? Can she initiate the ijab or do the qabul? That is something to think about. Often it is done that the woman would agree before the marriage to deputize her father to act on her behalf. And it's wise to put that in writing, etc., to make sure that she's agreeing of it, etc. This generally in Canada, is not a problem, but sometimes it is, sadly, that there are bad habits in our community, particularly in some countries, where it is the family who decides who the daughter will marry, and the daughter simply has to say yes. And there we have to know that both a woman and a man have moral agency. And nobody, unless you were coerced, but coercion is only when there's credible threat of life or limb. Anything short of that, you have moral agency. Right? Granted to you by Allah, confirmed to you by your Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You're not a slave to your family, you're not a slave to your societal expectation, you're a servant of Allah. Right? You respect your family, you respect your parents, you respect societal norms, but you're not a slave to anyone but Allah. And you are not an unconditional follower of anyone but the Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that has to be clear. But also, where there's difference of opinion, and where within the mainstream of Islam, this is a matter that people should agree on beforehand. How will we conduct the marriage? How will we conduct the marriage? Some sisters want to conduct their own marriage. And that is their right within Islamic law. Now, can someone insist that you do what's better? Can someone insist that you must do what's better? No. Like if someone tells you, brother, your trousers could be half an inch wider. Yes, they could be, but they're not. Right? Like, or whatever else. Right? That's why divine guidance has mercy. It's not you must do or you cannot do. We have obligations, recommendations, things that are permitted, things that are disliked, things that are prohibited. There's a gradation to the rulings of the Sharia. But also there's difference of opinion, and that is mercy. And you cannot force another to follow your opinion. Whether before marriage, Jill says, I will only get married if this happens. Okay, that's your right. Can Jack say, no, we must do it this way because every other way is wrong? No. You're not God who decides what is right and wrong. And where there's difference of opinion, these are things that we think through, but they often lead to dispute. How will we conduct our marriage? There's certain situations where someone may have dealt with a lot of trauma in their family, etc. They don't want to get their father involved. You encourage them that, okay, well, get them involved, get their permission explicitly. But you can conduct, or there could be other reasons. Right? So that there's leeway in that.
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله